The man that you're looking at in the blue shirt, that is 6-time world champion Kaycee Field. He's a $3.3 million winner. He's won more world championships in the bareback riding than any other man in the world.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Ignition Point. I'm Debbie Hart and I have a very special interview for you today. As you can see, I am here on horses with Kaycee Field himself, 6-time world bareback champion. Thank you for being here with me today.
You bet, Debbie. This is awesome to be here. Talk about the, failures and success of the things I've been through. But first I want to say thanks to Jed Morley and his brother for the awesome ride today. Trump you, it's an awesome little stud. I can't wait to go and rope on him and see what he's really made of.
And for letting us use Loafer View Arena here. It's so beautiful here in the foothills of Salem, Utah.
Beautiful Utah.
Beautiful Utah, yeah. Everyone's gonna watch all these episodes and be jealous and want to live here. We don't want any more people here.
There's no more room.
There's no more room.
No more water.
They're gonna look around and say, there's plenty of room. So you grew up here in Utah. You grew up with a father who was a 5-time world champion. So what was that like? What was that kind of childhood like?
I didn't know my dad other than just being dad. I didn't understand the world champion and the things that he accomplished in life. I was really young. I don't really remember him riding. I remember, being at the rodeo and being behind the buck and chutes, but I don't actually remember him being on a horse. There was a lot of things that I learned from him, but he was a true champion, a very humble man. Kept things really simple. A lot like rodeo, you can complicate it and make it harder than it really is. But life is the same way, and just keep it simple and stick to your goals and have God on your side, and usually the things will work out for the best and you won't get bucked off.
That's a beautiful worldview. So when you grew up, you didn't go travel watching all of the championships with your dad. Did your mom keep you at home?
So I was the youngest, and so the kids kind of started. My brother got to go with my dad a lot. Being the youngest, when they were in school, I got to go and be with my dad a lot throughout the day, but when he would travel, I wasn't to the age or maturity to go through the airports and do all that. I went with him quite a bit, but most of my memories of my dad are a lot like this, just very intimate situations and quiet environment and riding horses in the mountains and hunting memories and always, whatever we did, whether it be work or fun, everything was fun with my dad. Work wasn't tough. You got to do it, do your best job. If you're mowing the lawn or if you're putting up a fence, it's a perfect straight line and you don't cut any corners.
Sounds like he did his best to give you a pretty normal childhood despite his fame and fortune, if you will.
Oh, we had the best childhood. Me and my brother and my sister. I got 2 siblings, both older, and it was a blessed childhood, to say the least. And now being a father of 3 kids, I'm learning more of the importance of time and how short time is here on earth. And my dad truly invested in his kids and really pushed things to the side that might have been important to him at the time, but knew that the time that he needed to spend with his kids would pay off in the long run. And the example that he was to me, whether it be being a champion and competing or just being a dad or an everyday guy, and that's really my dad. He passed away in 2016. I think of him every day, but the lessons that I learned from him, I miss him and I wish he was still here, but I wrote down when I was grieving, it was a hard time for me. I didn't grieve for several years because every time I left, they would do a tribute to my dad every time I rode, and so I never really had an opportunity to put the tough guy to the side. And when I was going through the way that I grieved was a little different than everybody else's, and I wrote down all the pros and the cons of having my dad here on earth, not as a spirit, and the things that he taught me through life that without him here is what I'm doing today, and they outweighed what with him here today. And so, you know, I credit a lot of my success to the child that I had and the father and the mother that I had and the way they raised me.
That's really beautiful. And so you were sharing with me as we were beginning, that's why you actually retired from competing, right? So that you could be there with your own children and wife some more?
Yeah, and you know, being a champion or being great at something, you have to push a lot of things to the side that are important. There's going to be some situations in life that I'll never I had to ride in Ellensburg, Washington in the finals at that rodeo, and my little boy was in his first football game, and like I can't be there. I missed it. And so there's things that in life goals were outweighing my career goals, and so it was time for me to, you know, listen to the tap on the shoulder from my dad and go be a father and go be a dad to my kids. And it's crazy, as soon as I retired from competing, it was like my mind wasn't consumed anymore, and I could focus on other things. And when I'd go watch my kids compete, whether it be soccer or junior rodeo, I truly watched their emotions. I watched how they handled the competition, the good sportsmanship, and this year I'm coaching my son's flag football team, and it's been a real treat to myself to understand and be able to coach other kids on how to win, not just my kids, but you know, in the bareback riding world, doing schools and stuff like that, and really paying attention to what's happening in front of me instead of just dreaming about the things I need to do and how am I going to be great.
You, of all people, would be a really good sports coach on resilience and, you know, the proverbial get back on the horse, but quite literally, because you went through some pretty big challenges with that yourself. Do your kids did they ever get to watch you in a championship?
Oh yeah, yep. So I retired a year ago. It's been actually the longest I've ever been off of a bucking horse since I was 11 years old. It's been 14 months, and I've never felt that. My body feels like butter.
You're used to working your body hard, huh?
Yeah, but I had my kids with me a lot.
So they were involved in traveling and...
Oh, for sure. They're part of the team. If I didn't have my wife and my kids with me at the rodeo, yeah, I would be all right Friday, Saturday, but Sunday I'd get to missing them, and I wouldn't be able to ride to the top of my ability. Being a bareback rider, you got to be very fierce. And you know, my first daughter softened me up quite a bit. And then,
daughters will do that to daddies, they say.
Yeah, and then my youngest daughter, she's got me whooped. So, you know, softened me up quite a bit. But it's something that I've really enjoyed is just being home and being dad.
That's very sweet. You shared with me a few years ago, you had a pretty bad injury. You cracked your skull open, injured your brain. So tell us a little bit about what that moment was like for you and the recovery and what they told you.
So that was a big moment in my career. I had a horse called Killer Bee. I humbly saying I hold a lot of the records in the bareback riding world and in the discipline. The world record, the highest score, is something that I don't have. And this was an opportunity. I had the horse. The scenario was perfect for it. About 6 seconds, I hit my head on the horse's tail head, went numb, seen the white flash, got jerked down, hit my rigging, busted my eye socket, nose, nasal cavity, upper lower jaw, hit the ground, got kicked in the head, cracked my skull, had a brain bleed. They held me out on the stretcher, talked them into letting me off the stretcher when we got out of the arena, stood up, felt a big knot on my head, and I went in the sports medicine trailer and said, hey, I got a big knot on my head, can you check this out? It's kind of hurts, I got a headache. And they're like, okay, hey, felt it, you got a brain bleed. Ambulance, they start panicking.
Wow.
I didn't realize how bad it was. Stepped out of the trailer and kind of missed my step and went blind, and then just started throwing up. I was blind for 14 hours. Like, I could see the outline of a body, but that's about it. And every hour they would put me through the CT scan and scan my brain, make sure it wasn't swollen, that they needed to take the cap off my head, the skull. My wife got there the next morning, and this is right when we were kind of formulating Power Pro CBD. I have Power Pro as a nutritional company, and we're coming out with CBD. And if you've done any research with cannabis products and the inflammation on your brain, it was a blessing.
Wow.
She got there and went right to sleep after I took my Power Pro. Woke up feeling great. They scanned my head. The swelling was gone. They said I was going to be in ICU for 2 weeks. I was in ICU for 5 days. Drove home from Utah the 7th day. Or
Oh
from
my
Austin,
goodness.
Texas to Utah.
Like a true resilient fighter that you are, huh?
Yeah, and then it was a very different rehab for me. Coming back from injuries in the past, it happens at rodeo quite a bit. It was a lot easier. Breaking a leg or broken arm, your mental toughness isn't really cracked. But that injury kind of cracked me a little bit. They were saying I was done, never be able to ride a bucking horse again.
What was going through your mind when that was happening and they were saying that to you? You're done.
Oh shit. There was uncertainty. There was some things that I want to have in place when I'm done rodeoing to take care of my family. I hadn't quite done that yet.
So your first thoughts were about taking care of your family.
Oh, for sure. They were, every time I rode, my prayer was the same: take care of my family if something bad happens. But the first thing that come to mind was my family. How am I going to take care of them as a vegetable? Those things went through my head. But
There was a moment when you did think you might not recover, that you would be like a vegetable.
For sure. I laid in a dark room for 2 months and didn't turn a TV on or look at my phone. I had some bad thoughts at that time, some negative thoughts. But, turn the lights on and just, pray a little more, get closer with my family a little more, get back to the basics of life. Just like rodeo, when you're having a tough time riding bucking horses, you go back to the basics and you ride your spur board, or go back to the things that you know. And with life, that's what I had to do. I had to go push away that I'm a 4-time world champion cowboy and focus on the basics of a regular day dad, I guess you could say. And then after that, you can build on that and get back to it. And, my dad always said, when you get injured, use it to your advantage. Use it as fuel. Use it for time to be home with your family. Use it to strengthen your mind, get stronger physically, and come back better than you ever have been.
You definitely took that advice to heart, because here you are, actual brain injury, 2 months of sleeping in a room, not even able to watch TV, and being told you're done. And then what did you do just 1 year later?
So a year later, I come back in July. I won my first rodeo, rodeoed
You
for
went right
half the
back.
season.
You got right back on the horse.
I had to. If you wear one of these, you don't have any other choice. You get knocked down, you get back on, and this is my safety spot right
How did
here.
that season go for you after the brain injury?
I ended up making the finals that year. Grew up a lot in life as a human being, as an individual. The next year, rewrote my goals. COVID hit, and had to rethink how to rodeo. There wasn't the big rodeos that I had a lot of luck in the past. Had to go to a lot of smaller ones and rodeo out of my comfort zone, and ended up winning the world title. It came down to the last horse, last night of the finals.
So 1 year after that brain injury,
Yes, ma'am.
you won the world title yet again.
Yep.
Goodness.
Yep. And that was probably the most memorable win of my career.
I'm sure that's the most memorable win in maybe rodeo history. You know?
If you're a fan and you understand rodeo, I'm sure you'll remember that one. Yeah.
So you also shared you have some involvement with the military.
I do. I have a deep respect for our military and our first responders. When I was a young man, right when I kind of understood my potential and how good I really was, when I rewrote my goals, I had the opportunity to go to the Middle East, Afghanistan, Qatar, Oman, up to about 25 different countries visiting the troops.
Wow.
I went for 7 years in a row, 2 weeks at a time, and we would focus on FOBs. And FOBs are forward operating bases, 250 men or smaller. And so there was times that we took incoming heat. We had to hit the bunkers a few times. The flares on the helicopters went off. And it was very humbling to me, you know, kind of, I guess you could say a little, you know, set back on my heels. I'd go and work out with all these military men early in the morning, and they were going out to be shot at or watch their best friend die or do killing. And killing is it's a nasty, ugly thing that you can't ever forget about it. The guys that I know that have done it. And these guys were happy as could be, and they're going out against the toughest challenges in their life. And I thought to myself, I get to rodeo, I get to live in America, home of the free. The cowboy, in my opinion, is the most American iconic symbol there is.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of taking advantage of it. You know, these are things I get to do. I don't have to do any of that. And so I came home from that and rewrote my goals and grew up a lot. First rodeo back, horse rears over and smashes me and breaks my arm pretty bad.
First rodeo back.
Like I landed in Salt Lake, jet lagged as all get out, drive to California, and just tired. I don't know if you've ever been jet lagged, but and crawl down in the chute, this horse rears up and smashes and breaks my arm. And again, it's like, man, God, we had a deal together. I went and did this for the military and did all this good. What's going on here,
Yeah.
you know? And kind of back to the drawing board, back to the basics again, and come back that year and was pretty close to winning the world title. And again, I credit a lot of my success to that year of growing up, quit being a little punk and understanding, you know, as an American, as a cowboy, how good we really have it.
Because of all the people that sacrifice and serve so that we can.
Exactly, yeah. The ones that give it all are the ones that are still serving, you know, or have in the past. That's a tough career, and it's, you have to respect it. I have to admire it.
So, since retiring, you are obviously used to a very highly active, highly productive lifestyle. So you decided to pivot kind of into the business space. I'm sure that's a very interesting transition. You want to share with us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so business, it was, you know, I started Power Pro with 4 or 5 years left in my career, and it's doing well. But I still had a lot of time to do other things if I was to retire. So I started a fulfillment company in Springville, Utah. So we're shipping out everybody else's product that Amazon doesn't. That's pretty much how I'd explain it. But same thing as the rodeo world. It's you write your goals down, you get the basics down, and every day, every morning, just like when you nod for a bucking horse out of the bucking chute, you have to give it your all. The very first moment you nod, that first time the horse moves, you have to decide to give it your all or not. And if you don't, you're going to get bucked off. And so with the business world and the way that I've approached it is every morning I wake up, I take care of the hardest task, whether it be a business call that I'm intimidated by, like a big bad bucking horse that
you get intimidated.
You know, I don't feel like I'm the expert in business yet, so I can't just call out of the blue and listen here, son, I got to tell you something.
Yeah, but you're a real funkin' bronco cowboy. I mean, these guys should be intimidated by you.
Yeah, so no, business is fun, and it's the same thing as rodeo. It's basics and relationships. It's a handshake deal. Be honest, give it your all. Clean work. Work hard, get the work done, and do it with dignity.
It's a good lesson. It's a really good lesson to remember. So what would your final advice be for any young entrepreneur aspiring to get in this line of work?
You know, it doesn't matter if it's rodeo or business. Be an honest, good person every day, all day. And it seems like when you practice being a good guy, and I make mistakes all the time, and I can be rude at times. I admit that. But at the same time, if you work at being a good person each and every day and give compliments, business isn't no different. You shake a person's hand, and your word is your word, and you work as hard as you possibly can to get the job done. And it's just like rodeo. You'll start winning. And when you get a routine and you're the best at it, and you do it time and time and time again, it will pay off. And have faith in yourself. There's a lot of people that they don't even initiate in an opportunity. They don't take that jump to try to be successful. And the start is what's intimidating. Just like riding a bucking horse, it's muscle reaction. So, you know, after the first jump, your goals and your plan will take over after that.
That's beautiful. And if you fail, just get back on that horse.
Failing's not that bad.
You can always ride again.
Pain is weakness leaving the body, is what my wrestling coach in high school said.
Thanks so much. It's been an honor to have you.
Oh, thank you.
If any of you watching today have any doubts that your current CPA is not helping you take 100% advantage of the deductions you deserve and helping you stay compliant with the IRS, then don't hesitate to get involved with TaxHive today. You won't be disappointed.